Welcome everyone to the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick, and we're missing Jim today, but we have a special guest, Jennifer Frush from the New Hope Center for Grief Support, the Executive Director. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So my relationship with New Hope goes back a long time, going back to the Kathy Clow, John and Betty Baird days. And I was actually on the board from, I think, 07 to 17. And we had this transition from founder-managed nonprofit to professionally managed. And that was how I view my role. But now we're here off and running as a professionally managed nonprofit. What's going on at New Hope these days?
Oh my goodness, so many things. So 23 years of growth, just imagine. We have, doubled our numbers, not just in the people we serve, but financially what we're able to bring in. We never want finances to be a barrier to getting support after a loss. So with the gracious support of donors like yourself and grants and sponsorships, we're able to continue that work at no cost to individuals impacted by loss. So lots of great things. We're up to 6 staff members. We have working interns. We have 250 active volunteers at all times that help run our
250?
programs. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it takes a village. We have 23 unique loss-specific groups that run throughout the year. So each of those is facilitated by volunteers that have been impacted by loss. The same loss is what they're working with their groups in. They've gone through the programs, benefited, and now they want to give back and continue their healing. So it's really incredible.
That's fantastic. And when I was young, when I first met Kathy, and I had not experienced any loss in my personal life, and I had a hard time understanding what the New Hope mission was and is. But people like Alan Walthall, I would meet at the Christmas party or the spring fundraiser or other events. And that's actually what Kathy said. Why don't you come to one of our events and meet some people? And the first person that really had a big impact on me was Alan. And he said, New Hope saved my life. And at that moment, I thought, well, this is pretty impressive. This is an organization that I'd like to support. And so we started supporting the events and such, and then volunteering through the board and today ongoing funds. But what does that mean to you, New Hope saved my life? How does that make you feel when you hear people say that?
That is why I love my job. It's just that individuals that have experienced loss have hope. When you come to New Hope, you're in an utter despair of hurt. You've lost someone that you love that means something to you. And so when you come to New Hope and you connect with someone that really understands because they too lost the same relationship as you, just is hope. And then as you find that hope, like healing really does take place. So understanding and knowing that you have to sit in the awful feelings associated with grief, as you do that, the intensity of the pain lessens and you will start to feel better. Not that you'll ever accept or be okay with the loss, because it's with you forever, but you learn how to live with it. And then when healing happens, new beginnings can take place. So I have seen 5 weddings in the last 2 years of people that have come to New Hope, met someone at New Hope, but lost the love of their life, and that's why they ended there. So there is purpose after loss, and there is love after loss. So for me, it makes me love my job and love that I get to help people.
That's quite remarkable. So people come to New Hope because they're grieving, and they end up marrying someone that they've met at New Hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just that despite the pain, there's happiness after loss. So whether it takes years or they may never, get involved in a relationship, but they do find ways to heal and they meet a support system. My mom actually went through the program 12 years ago after we lost my dad, and she met this wonderful group of women, and 6 months later she was on a trip to Hawaii, and since then has taken many trips with these women. Which has just been a godsend because I feel like she was robbed that time with retirement with my dad. So what better way than to be able to still enjoy life and have a purpose and have fun. So there's other ways, support systems, and then the volunteer work. When you serve, it takes away from your own pain. It lessens your pain because you're giving to someone else that's in pain. So there is some therapy
Yeah,
to
and kind of paying it forward, right?
Yeah.
Giving back and paying it forward. And you mentioned your mom's friends that she met in their ongoing groups. So when someone is grieving, they can come to the workshop and learn and meet people that have a similar loss, and they can understand that they're not alone in this path. And it's not just the workshop, right? People continue this group. They stay with New Hope
for years.
For years.
Alan is still very actively involved. I mean, he served on the board after you, but he's still on our gala committee, and if there's a need, I can always call Alan. He is always there for New Hope.
And by the way, Alan is also the bartender at the Peak Wealth Management Summer Party, the top of the Peak.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, people come just to see Alan, I think.
Yes, and his twin brother too.
That's right.
So, yeah, Glenn.
Funny story. Okay, Alan and Glenn went to Michigan State at the same time that my mom was there, and they lived in the same dorm.
Oh my gosh, small world.
Very small world. So we talk about adults and loss of spouse or loss of parent, loss of any loved one. What about kids? Because we can't forget about the children.
Right. So believe it or not, Michigan, our CBEM rate, which is a child bereavement metric, we have one of the highest in the country. We average 1 in 12 children will be bereaved before the age of 18, losing a parent or a sibling in the home. That's astronomical. The average in the country is 14, and then further into Wayne County we go, that number drops dramatically to 9. So unfortunately, children do not have the resources or the experiences that we do to help them funnel the emotions of grief. So for us, just being a resource for them, a point allowing them to connect with other kids to know they're not alone, there are other children that have been bereaved, a space to honor their loved one, talk about their loved one, educationally learning about those emotions and reactions based on where they are developmentally, and then growing through that experience through our Family Fridays, our kids camp, our teen group. And then we also recently launched into the schools with a school-based grief support program, which does a little bit of grief sensitivity training for educators so they can feel better equipped to support grieving children. And then we also go in and run an 8-week group for kids that are bereaved, so they get to see other kids in the school to know they're not alone and talk about those emotions and reactions. And then we're there after a death of another student or a staff member. If that should take place, we're there to support, because those can re-trigger our losses when a second or third or an additional loss happens. So kids are really important to take the time and effort when grieving, because children grieve based on their developmental stages and will continue to grieve over and over and over until approximately 26 years old. So being able to help them understand and process what they're feeling at each of those ages is critical to their development. If it goes unresolved or I don't want to say treated, but untalked about, these kids are, they're associated with, attendance issues, behavioral issues, anxiety, depression. So by putting support systems early in place, we can help avoid those negative situations and help them be academically successful in school.
And at the spring event last month, we heard from a young lady in high school who went through some of the programs at New Hope. And I thought that she was very well spoken and, a great person to have for a fundraiser event, honestly, because she was so positive with respect to her experience at New Hope. So let's talk about the events that we have going on here. So the spring event was a huge success.
Awesome.
I saw how much money you raised, and I couldn't believe it.
I know.
I was so excited.
I know. My goal for next year, $100,000.
Wow. Outstanding.
Again, the money and the generosity of the attendees and the sponsors that support that are really putting a foot forth to provide that free grief support to everyone reaching out to our programs.
And one of the big donors for the spring event was Donna Martin down in the Toledo area.
Yes.
So Donna has been a friend for many years, and she lost her husband, went through the program, and now in Toledo wants to kind of spread the good word, right,
Yeah.
for New Hope. And what's going on in Ohio?
So yes, Donna Martin is incredible. Then she probably was very active in those beginning days when you started because she was a grant writer.
Exactly.
So she's phenomenal. She would love to see New Hope in every city and state across the country. I have to tell her to slow down because we can't go there just yet, but we were able to bring to life a Starting Again group for spouse loss at her home church, which will allow her to help serve widows and widowers in the Toledo and Waterville area. I'm super excited because she's very passionate, and she definitely, if she says she wants a New Hope in the Toledo area, I bet any money we will have one up and running in a few years.
I think it's great. What else is going on with events? We just had the golf outing as well with
awesome.
Jeff Packer and the Packer Group.
Yes, so that was incredible. Weather was beautiful. Jeff always does a great job, him and his team.
I like your outfit, by the way.
I know,
Yeah.
very patriotic. How fitting for the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
So he's incredible, and he has been doing this for, 5 years, despite COVID, and we managed to still find a way to run them. Incredible, raised just over $21,000.
Wow.
And again, all of that money just helps us provide this service free of charge. And like I shared with you in our annual report, well over 10,000 impacts on individuals in program efforts last year. That's unheard of. I think 5 years ago we were maybe at 1,000. So
Wow.
just lots of growth, and that's not even counting the people in an outreach event or when we go and do a big presentation to a community or a school. Those numbers aren't included. So just super excited we get to serve more grievers with greater capacity.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. And coming up this summer, we have the kids camp. You have a lot of folks already registered, right?
Yep, tackle your grief with New Hope. It's all about finding the courage to face your grief, the practice to get through it by sitting with it, and then perseverance to move through it and grow from it. So we do have some of the former Detroit Lions, like Eric Hippel's coming out to tackle grief, the Michigan
Wonderful.
Jags, the Bridgewater Support Systems with the equestrian horse therapy. We have over 80 kids already registered, and we anticipate that number to be about 150 to 200 kids, which is just tremendous because last year we had 108 kids at camp.
Another great growth story.
Yep.
What about the Family Fridays? This is something that I was not aware of until I learned about it at the spring event.
It's a great program. So this allows us to invite the whole family unit because we understand that everybody grieves differently in the family. However, they don't understand that. So bringing them together allows them to come in as a family, have dinner, meet other families that are impacted by loss, and then we divide the kids up based on developmental stages, how old they are. And we do a really fun themed-based activity at that month. So one time we went bowling, strike out your grief. And we always have conversation about, these emotions that we have, but what are healthy coping ways to deal with the emotions when we have them. And then the adults, which it's really alarming how many guardians, so maybe not biological parents, but the grandparents or aunts, uncles, or other family are raising bereaved children.
Mm-hmm.
So really finding they get this support system by meeting with all of them to talk about like what's working in your home, here's some of our challenges, and just a really solid support system. So this happens monthly.
Jennifer, that reminds me of, in our world, financial planning and estate planning, if you have minor children and both parents pass away at the same time, your will is what is going to is the document that will dictate who the guardian of your children are.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a will, then the judge picks whoever they want.
Mm-hmm. And so we did start, funny that we're talking about this, we started a young spouse loss group for 55 and younger, and that was their primary, focus of one, like, what do I do if something happens to me? Or how do I support the kids financially if, down the road I get sick? or how do we even just where financially, I don't know where we stand because I didn't handle those affairs.
And financially, a lot of people don't have life insurance, right? And so that's a problem for the surviving spouse or the children. So, I see it a lot, and it's awful. Mm-hmm. So we always talk about these things, but particularly when it comes up with New Hope. Now, what about the ongoing groups and Circles of Hope? These are a couple things we still haven't covered. Is Circles the financial part?
Nope. Circles of Hope encompasses all of our kids programs.
Okay,
So that
kids.
is Family Fridays, teen groups, school groups, everything to do with the family.
Okay, so Heroes then is the ongoing donor.
Monthly.
And you said, you don't want finances to be in the way, a barrier, yeah. And look at believe me, when I was on the board, financials were a tremendous barrier. Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad and happy to hear that that's, leveled up, if you will.
Yeah.
But we need ongoing contributions, right? So that's why we have special events and grant writing and donors and heroes. So if people want to help, how can they help?
Oh gosh, there's so many ways. So there's the Heroes of Hope, which it could be as simple as like a cup and a half of coffee that you give up monthly. So maybe $10 a month to support the efforts of New Hope. And those gifts, those monthly contributions, really set the tone for us. Like we can plan and grow based on that commitment because we know it's coming, whereas grants, sponsorships, we're not assured or guaranteed. So that Heroes of Hope program to me is vital to the organization. So getting our mindset around, if I give up one lunch a month or 1.5 cups of coffee at Starbucks, you can really make a big difference in a child or in a widow or someone that lost a loved one to suicide by eliminating that financial barrier for them to get support. There's ways for sponsorships, to sponsor camp or the gala or the 8-week workshop. And we really rely on our community businesses and partners and individuals to help us, be able to throw on a great kids camp or a great gala by their support.
And I love how you got this donate button right there on the homepage.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful, right?
Yeah, it would be screaming if I had my choice. It would be blinking and everything. But there's other things too. We do write a ton of grants. We ask if donors have a company that maybe matches. That's a great way to get involved. Everything from shopping at certain Walmart, joining their app and selecting New Hope as the charity.
Amazon Smile too, they have that, right?
Yes, yeah. But they just stopped doing that.
Did they?
But yes, that was part of my goal. We got that up to like over $100 a month, like coming back to New Hope. So, but Kroger does it. So,
okay.
And then Facebook, when if people have a birthday, writing an appeal and just asking this program benefited me. Can you help me give back? So there's lots of ways to give, and if financially you can't, we are always looking for volunteers. It takes a village to run our programs, and so whether you want to answer phones or help with plan a big party like the gala or serve at kids camp, we are always looking for volunteers.
Well, Jennifer, it's been fun watching the evolution from a distance over the last 5 years after being so involved, and I'm really proud of the work that you've done. And reading through the 22 annual report, there's a lot of stuff that I learned that I didn't know about, new things that you've implemented, and the numbers you're going through, the number of people who have attended the workshop, the number of children, the number of touches, so to speak, it's just exploding. So I think it's wonderful. I think that New Hope, is and should be a pillar of the Northville, Plymouth, Livonia, the local community. So great job.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of the work that you're doing. And for those of you who'd like to learn more, we can go to
www.newhopecenter.net or give us a call at 248-348-0115.
Thanks, Jen.
You.